Thank you. So joining me now is Frances Beckley. Frances is our chief counsel, which basically means like our lawyer in charge.
And when it comes time to enforce those liabilities for those taxpayers we don't appreciate, that comes to my shop.
Okay. All right. That's a small fraction of all of our taxpayers.
A tiny fraction, but we want to make it fair for those taxpayers we do appreciate by making sure that those recalcitrant people get taken to court, get pushed to finally make those payments.
I think that's a really good point. You know, the enforcement work that we do is because it is not fair to the folks at home, the 96.1% of folks who are doing what they're supposed to do. It's not fair to them when folks don't do what they're supposed to do. And that's why we have super, super awesome people like Frances to help us make sure that everyone's doing the right thing.
Yeah, but sometimes people say to me, well, you know, I'm planning to pay my taxes someday. And I feel like saying, well, if we had teachers who were happy being paid someday, that would work. But in fact, they would like a paycheck this Friday. So you need to pay your bill on time.
So we have a couple of questions that are like very like tricky, like legally, like we get these kind of like...
That's what we do.
Right. So for example, I'm living in a house and it's not in my name, you know, and the owner's deceased. Maybe it was my mom and she's deceased, but I'm paying all the bills. I'm paying for the upkeep of that house. Can I use the proof of bill payments to establish equitable ownership or to apply for an OOPA?
No, that's not sufficient. It obviously, we're going to be more inclined to look favorably on your application if you have been paying the taxes up to date. But what you need in order to establish equitable ownership is to show that the house belonged to a deceased person from whom you would have inherited it, or that you have a rent-to-own agreement, or perhaps you've been the victim of one of these fraudulent deed transfer schemes where the house is now in somebody else's name, but it really never should have been moved out of your name.
Right.
In any of those situations, we can straighten it out and we can put you into an OOPA.
Okay, and an OOPA, just for folks who are just joining us, is an owner-occupied payment agreement. It's a very flexible payment plan that allows people to make payments that are affordable to their budget. There's no down payment, and payments can be as low as $25 or even less if folks qualify or have extenuating circumstances. So if you're having any problems or you have like this like kind of this like wacky, well, it's like a tangled title, right?
It's called tangled title, and it's one of those situations. They're very common in Philadelphia because we so often have people who are more modest means who don't probate their estates, so the property stays in the name of their grandmother or their great aunt, even though they're the person actually living in the house. They really have ownership of it. None of their cousins are going to claim it. But you need to go in and get that settled, get that straightened out, and get the house into your name in the long term. You need to do that to protect yourself for lots of other reasons, but also for your long-term eligibility for OOPA. After 3 years, we want to push you to get into record ownership.
So if I need help doing that, because it sounds like a very complicated, scary legal process, help is available. Who do I talk to?
Well, there are several agencies. Community Legal Services, the Volunteer Indigent Program does that. But the best way to get yourself hooked up with either a housing counselor or a lawyer who will help you with that process is to call the Save Your Home Philadelphia hotline.
Yes.
And that is at 215-334-HOME 4663. Again, that number is 215-344-4663. And those people will refer you to the appropriate professional to help you with your situation.
That is a great reminder on that hotline. We will definitely make sure that makes it into the comments for this. So if you're having any issues, like title issues, we want you to get the help that you need. So make sure that you call the Save Your Home Philly hotline at 215-334-HOME, and that is a great resource.
And understand that we, even those of us whose job is enforcement, don't never want to take somebody's home. We have people come in the day before the sheriff's sale. We put them into agreement. And often people get bills and they get foreclosure notices and they get scared and they get paralyzed and they don't do anything. No. Come in and talk to us.
Right.
If you come in and work with us, we will find a solution to your problem. We'll get you into a payment agreement, and it'll be based on your income so you can afford it.
Right. So don't wait. That's always the message that we give folks. If you're having any problems, before it becomes a big problem, and as Marco said earlier, that just makes more fees. It just makes for like a bigger headache. The second you know that you're having an issue, come on in and talk to us. We'll help you work through it. Thank you so much. I'm really glad, and maybe we'll have you back. Maybe we'll talk more about some legal stuff.
That would be fun. Great
Cool.
to see you,
All right,
Rebecca.
thank you, Frances.